Stephen A is not on NBA Countdown, and that may be a good thing. Let's get into this thing right now. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy JB coming right back at you. Welcome back to the channel, man. Y'all know the routine. Get down in the description, support the channel, follow me on the socials. Y'all know it, man. Get my new book on Amazon, Kindle Ashes Between Us. Let's jump right into this, man. All of us saw the news about Stephen A. Smith not being on NBA Countdown. And guys, I don't think it's pretty hard to see what's happening. I think it's multifold, but I wanted to get into it. And obviously, you may have heard these takes somewhere else on YouTube, but I want to give y'all a different perspective on what's going on with Stephen A. Smith and NBA Countdown. First of all, Stephen A. Smith is no dope. This is why it's a good thing, guys. Stephen A. Smith is no dope. Stephen A. Smith is trying to get into politics. NBA Countdown does not expand his audience. As a matter of fact, the people who watch NBA Countdown are not going to view Stephen A. Smith as a viable option in politics because they see him as a sellout. He doesn't need to waste his time there. So I don't blame Stephen A. from getting away from NBA Countdown. Doesn't help him at this level. NBA Countdown helped him get to where he is now, but he has no more use because once Inside the NBA came, who the hell wants to watch NBA Countdown? Nobody wants to hear Malika Andrews and Shams and Brian Windhorst and Pert. At the end of the day, guys, Stephen A. Smith has bigger aspirations. And if you're going into politics, NBA Countdown doesn't help you. That audience sees Stephen A. as a sellout. That audience really doesn't like Stephen A. Smith. To that audience, Stephen A. Smith is overexposed. They're tired of hearing his takes and that kind of thing. So I think it's actually smart because it doesn't help him from where he's going. If he's trying to go to politics, if he's trying to take over Jimmy Kimmel late night, NBA Countdown is a waste of time because those people don't watch those shows, and those people who watch NBA Countdown are not as immersed in politics. And I got to tell you guys, it's clear to see what Stephen A. Smith is doing. And Stephen A. got two aspirations. Stephen A. Smith want to be in politics. And here's the reason he doesn't want to do NBA Countdown. He's not going to be everywhere on ESPN like that. The NBA got him where he needed to go, but the NBA is not going to take him where he needs to be. If you guys haven't realized, Stephen A. Smith's contract would have been a big deal had it not been for Pat McAfee. Do y'all realize Pat McAfee owns ESPN? This guy interviewed Donald Trump. This guy does whatever he wants to do. He's on College Game Day. Okay. And he has his own show simulcast. He's doing whatever he wants to do. Stephen A. Smith does not have that power. If y'all follow Jason Whitlock and you saw the Sage Steele conversation, Jason Whitlock here, she put it so eloquently. She's never seen, and Sage Steele was at ESPN a long time. She's never seen anybody have the power Pat McAfee has. And if y'all don't think Stephen A. Smith recognizes that, I think Stephen A. Smith is going to stop being on SportsCenter like that. He's going to stop being on NBA Countdown like that. Stephen A. only wants to be where he's going to be the star of the show. And I think what you guys are going to see is that Stephen A. will continue to do First Take, obviously. He will do Get Up because he has a great relationship with Mike Greenberg. But Stephen A. Smith will eventually be on Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. Not none of this Monday Night Football countdown stuff. He's going to be in the booth with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, or he's going to be on Sunday, NFL Countdown. Because what I'm trying to tell y'all right now, Stephen A. has political aspirations. Do y'all see that man went on his podcast platform and said, I have every Republican I've asked to come on my show has come. Every Democrat he's asked has not. Stephen A. is trying to be a moderate left of center Democrat. Well, guys, that's not going to get him any votes if he's on the shows he's currently on now. Why do you think he's doing a political show on XM? Why do you think he's doing radio? Conservative people, whether you're left or right, listen to radio. That's why Stephen A. Smith is on XM. But at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith is watching why Pat McAfee gets to do what he wants to do, but Stephen A. Smith doesn't. And that's driving him crazy. That's why Stephen A. Smith is trying to build these platforms outside of ESPN, because as long as he's tied to ESPN, nobody's ever going to take him seriously politically, because ESPN is a liberal sports network. And that's not a knock on ESPN, but Stephen A. Smith does not want that audience because he's not continuing to go left. Stephen A. Smith is trying to carve out a space in the middle so that he can be a viable option in 2028 and beyond. But Pat McAfee is the face of ESPN, not Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith thought when he signed this deal that he would be the face of ESPN. And y'all got to understand, one of the things about having a job is you think you know the rules and you play by the rules and you do everything right. You take the company stance. And if you're Stephen A. Smith, you got the money you want. But you're watching Pat McAfee get to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, stand on the desk on College Game Day. He is the face of Game Day since Lee Corso left. Stephen A. Smith needs to be the face of something. College Game Day is now owned by Pat McAfee. Stephen A. Smith wants to be the face of the NFL because that's where the conservative constituents are. And nobody's talking about this. Stephen A. has to get away from basketball. Stephen A. has to be football. That's why Stephen A. loves that relationship he has with Jerry Jones. It's not a secret that Stephen A. Smith is in that box at Jerry Jones' world, because that's the people he's going after. Why am I saying this to you guys? It's a good thing that Stephen A. is doing this, because it's going to force Stephen A. to the right. Stephen A. cannot be considered to the left, because if he keeps going that route, he's going to get eaten alive by Pat McAfee and nobody's going to take him serious. That's why the Democrats are not coming on his show, but the Republicans are. That's why he's doing radio. That's why he loves Mad Dog Russo. It's bringing him back from what he had to do to get that $100 million deal to now really positioning him to have a war chest and be investable from a political standpoint, from the left of center to the moderate Republican. That's where he's trying to go. The problem is for Stephen A. Smith, there's no middle. Either you are MAGA, conservative, or you are Mandami, Democrat. There's no middle now, guys. And at the end of the day, that's the best way to have it, right? No in between. Either you left or either you right. Stephen A. Smith is being pulled to the right, but he's trying to stop it. And I think when I saw the announcement that he's done with NBA Countdown, and he came on the show and said that he had already negotiated this. He doesn't need NBA Countdown anymore. I really don't think Malika Andrews and Pert and Shams and Windhurst is good TV anyway. I don't think Stephen A. Smith wants to be there. Stephen A. Smith no longer can share the spotlight. He has to be the spotlight. And Pat McAfee is eating his lunch. Don't be surprised, guys, if you don't see Stephen A. Smith in the booth with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and you don't see him doing more on First Take as far as getting away from the NBA. He doesn't need that audience. And with the gambling thing that's happening with the NBA, he's lost that opportunity anyway. So, guys, I'm telling y'all, this is the first take you're hearing on this, because this is all political. Stephen A. Smith wants Jimmy Kimmel's position, or he wants to be in politics. But in order to do that, he cannot be in the shadow of Pat McAfee, and he cannot be doing the things that he used to do prior to the big money. I'm telling y'all watch it. Stephen A. Smith is a master at this thing. He knows the media. You may not like him, but he's a genius at the media. And ESPN is going to give him that platform, because right now you're either left or you're right. Who do you want if you're ESPN? At least ESPN knows if they pay Stephen A. Smith, he will parrot their points. And at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith is a business guy now. He's not a commentator anymore. He knows what it's going to take to get to the next level, either on late night TV or either political. He's carving out left of center and moderate Republicans. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything anymore. He's going to either have to go right or he's going to go left. And it's clear he's going right. NBA does not help him anymore. And don't be surprised if y'all don't see Donald Trump on Stephen A's YouTube, XM, Sirius XM, or either on First Take. Because once Pat McAfee got Donald Trump on that interview, Stephen A. Smith had to do something, because here's the problem that nobody's talking about. Pat McAfee may be upending Stephen A. Smith, because if Pat McAfee says he wants to get involved in politics, Pat McAfee will make Stephen A. Smith irrelevant. Y'all get down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, man. Is Jeff crazy or is Jeff owning something? If you hadn't already, mash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications. And until next time, guys, I'm going to holler.